Hi everyone, Flaming Footy here and welcome back to another YouTube video on the channel. And today guys, we are going to be continuing our big round previews. We are back to the full 9 games this round 15. It's a massive round coming up, but before we do, going to go back, have a little look at round 14. So last rounds, Richmond 81 got over Carlton 66, Essendon 107 got over the Saints 72, Port Adelaide 82 got over Sydney's 59, Geelong 81 got over the Eagles 63. The Doggies 125 got over the Giants 105, and the Suns 116 was too good for the Crows 73. And the Lions, Collingwood, Fremantle, Hawthorn, Melbourne and North Melbourne all had buys in this round of footy. Now, I wanted to get the last round's review done very quickly because this round is the best round we have all year. I can guarantee you that right now. It is going to be the best round of footy that we have had all year, and it will be the best round of the year. In fact, best round of the past few years, to be completely honest. This is a once in a very long time occurrence that a thing like this happens. Every team in the top 8 plays each other, so this round preview is going to be big. And at the end of the video, I'm going to dedicate a little bit of time going over scenarios. But we are back to full 9 games in a round. We're not going to waste too much time. Round 15 preview. Let's get going. So Thursday night footy is Melbourne versus Brisbane at the MCG. Second versus first. Melbourne in second. Brisbane in first at the MCG. Now this one is a very big game for both these two clubs. The winner gets a leap on the other, and if it's a draw, well then they'll be even still. But I don't see it going that way. I think it's going to be a win to either side. Now, this one is this is a 50-50 game, second versus first. It is at the MCG, so Melbourne do have the advantage, home ground advantage. And it could go, well, I could see this game going either way. I wouldn't be surprised who would be winning. Melbourne have had a tough last month. Brisbane, they are the team that I'm picking to win by 17 points. I just feel like they'll be too classy and outclass Melbourne. They're without Max Gawn there, Skipper and Ruckman, so it's going to make it even harder. I feel Brisbane, 17 points, and I reckon it'll be a semi-comfortable win in a low-scoring game on Thursday night footy. Friday night footy, Marvel Stadium, we go to Marvel Stadium. Western Bulldogs versus Hawthorn, 10th versus 14th. This is a massive game for the Western Bulldogs, who are looking to get into the finals, and that they could possibly, well, not get into the finals, but, well, they're looking to get into the finals. They won't get into the finals regardless of the result, but, maybe they might. They might actually get into finals. They might get into the top 8, if they're, of course, the other results are important as well, whether they'll get in, but they might get into the 8 this round. They've got a pretty good percentage, but, again, the Hawks, they've been an underrated team this year, I reckon. I reckon the Hawks, yes, they're in 14th, but, listen to their wins that I'm about to read out. They've won against Geelong, Brisbane, and they've won against North Melbourne as well, and there was one more good win that they won. So they've been pretty productive this year for Hawthorn. Geelong and Brisbane were the signature wins that they really had a good win against, some really quality opponents. And then a win over North Melbourne, another club, I don't know who it was, but they've been pretty good this year for Hawthorn. They've been underrated. They have lost some really easy games, but won some really tough ones. So Hawthorn, been a bit, you don't really know what to expect. The Doggies, well, they've also been the same. Doggies for me, though. I reckon the Doggies will win this game by 25 points. And again, this game is critical for their finals chances. The Eagles and the Bombers is the second Friday night contest. The Eagles sit 18th on the ladder. The Bombers sit 16th. Now, this is the battle of the lower end of the ladder, but it's still going to be an interesting one as both these teams actually played pretty well last week. The Eagles they had a valid effort despite a loss to the Cats, and the Bombers got a big 35-point win over St Kilda, so this one goes either way for me. It is at Optus Stadium, which may convince people to go for West Coast, but I have stuck with the Bombers by 4 points. I don't think it's going to be a big win. I think they will win by 4 points. Just because it's at Optus Stadium, I feel like the Eagles will give it a very good chance, and I feel like they will lead this game as well. They won't just be Essendon the whole game. It is going to be a thriller. over in the West on Friday night. Carlton versus Fremantle is the first game on the Saturday. Now, this Saturday is the big day of games. Really important, really big day of footy. So, Carlton versus Fremantle starts it off at Marvel Stadium. It could go either way. 5th versus 3rd. Freo a 3rd, Carlton a 5th. Now, the last time these two teams played was back in round 6, I believe. And it was the Dockers who took the Chockies in the West. It's at Marvel. And this is like a pre-finals taste. So, I still do think the Dockers will win, even though it is at Marvel Stadium, which does convince people to go to Blues. But they just haven't been as convincing in the past few weeks. I mean, personally, that's my opinion. But I just don't think they've been as convincing in the past few weeks as what we may have thought. I feel like they were really hyped over their start, and they've just fallen off a little bit now. So they do need to win a game to get right back into that good section. But again, the Dockers, they've been good this year, and I think they're just going to be too strong for Carlton. They'll win this game by 18 points. Now, to Saturday Twilight Footy we go, where it is the Cats taking on the Tigers. At the MCG, this is a big game. This is probably one of the biggest games of the round. Now, if Richmond win, well, then they can catch up to the Cats and potentially take a top 4 position. Now, when you hear that, that is big. A team that was fighting for the 8 a couple of weeks ago, now to go and take the top 4, that just goes to show how crazy this year's been. The Cats and the Tigers, either team could win it. Wouldn't be surprised if either team was to win it as well. And the odds are locked as well. It could go either way. It's 50-50. Cats are 4th, Tigers are 6th. Could go either way. Although I am tipping Richmond by 14 to get the job done by 14 points in an absolute thriller on Saturday Twilight Footy. Now to Saturday Night Footy where we go in a 7th versus 8th. Now, the loser of this game finds themselves in all sorts of trouble as well. There are competitors in the Western Bulldogs and Collingwood who are looking and Port Adelaide and Gold Coast who are looking to take that spot by this loser. Now, obviously, if it's a draw, it's a whole different result, but again, I don't think it's going to be a draw. I feel like there is a team that will win this game. Sydney versus St Kilda, 7th versus 8th, this standalone Saturday Night Footy game. Now, this one could go either way, but I am more tempted to say one team than the other. I am saying Sydney to win the game. 7th versus 8th, so the loser will be knocked out of the top 8, although temporarily. I'm saying Sydney. That's just because it's at the SCG. It was a marvel, though. I would probably say St Kilda, but because it's a Sydney, I am saying Sydney Swans to win. I think I said them by 24. I feel like just because it's the SCG, they play that ground so well to Sydney, and I reckon they'll be rewarded with a big win. Now it turns to St Kilda. Now the ball goes to them. What can they do to respond? It's really important what they do. Because on the Sunday there's a few big games coming up which could determine where they lay. And I reckon, the loser of this game could be caught a little bit behind the pack. So, I reckon Sydney will win. It's a really big game, this one, really important. But I reckon Sydney will win by 24. Now to Sunday we go down to Tassie for the first game of the round. For the first game of the Sunday. And it is North Melbourne versus the Adelaide Crows. Now, the Adelaide Crows, there wasn't anything great about last week's performance versus Gold Coast, and North Melbourne obviously coming off the bye. And then North Melbourne's week prior wasn't great versus the Giants. So, both these teams have had, not great seasons. 17th versus 15th. It's not like it's anything special. It is at Blunston, which does give North Melbourne the tiniest bit of hope to win. But, again, I still feel like the Crows will just be too strong. They've been a reasonably strong side this year. Their best can beat any team in the competition, but their worst is, a fair way off. So, it just depends on what gear the Adelaide Crows come out in. On Tassie, it can change things, but again, I just do think the Adelaide Crows will just be too strong. I don't think they're going to win comfortably. I mean, my tip, I think I said them by about 20-something. But again, I still feel like it'll be tight and the Crows will just kick away. Or I still feel like the Crows will win comfortably. But the Crows by around 20 is what I'm saying. Now, though, to two very big games of the round. The last two Sunday games is a very big one. Two very big ones coming up. Collingwood versus GWS. Now, obviously, there's going to be a loser of Sydney versus St Kilda that are kicked out of the top 8 if Collingwood win. If they don't, well then, obviously, then that does allow the door to open for maybe even the Doggies to jump in, or St Kilda or Sydney, the loser of that game, to retain their spot, So, Collingwood versus GWS, it does become a big game in the rounds. The Giants, their form in the MCG isn't great, which does suggest Collingwood will win, although, however, last year when they played the Pies, they did get the job done at the MCG, Saturday night footy. But again, I still feel like Collingwood, the way they've been playing this year, is too strong. They will beat the Giants by 29 points. I reckon they'll get it done pretty comfortably for a little bit of percentage. And you're probably like, no, the Giants won't lose by 29 points. But I just feel like Collingwood have been too good this year. I just feel like the Giants at the MCG aren't great, even though they've played well in the past few weeks, but I feel like this will just be their down week. They don't play great at the MCG, so that's where I get that tip from. Now, though, to the final game of the round, 12th versus 11th at the Adelaide Oval. Port Adelaide versus Gold Coast. Now, if Gold Coast win, they stick with the Western Bulldogs. If they win, they'll be making a push for the top 8 if they win this game, Gold Coast. However, if Port Adelaide win, well, then they'll go equal on points with Gold Coast. And then they'll be lodging their foot in the door as well to whether they can make the top 8 too. 12th versus 11th. Now, as I said, Port Adelaide, they put one foot wrong and they are out. So this is a big game for them. 12th versus 11th. Just because it's at the Adelaide Oval, Port Adelaide will win. But if it was at Metricon, I reckon Gold Coast could win. But just because it's at the Adelaide Oval, Gold Coast don't play traditionally well there. I am saying Port Adelaide to win by a solid and comfortable 30 points. Now to the ladder. Scenarios time we go. This is going to be fun. Now, the winner of Brisbane and Melbourne goes top of the table on 44. The loser stays on 40. And then if Fremantle win, well, then they'll also go up to 44 too. But if they lose, Carlton will join them on 40 and the loser of Brisbane and Melbourne on 40. If the Cats beat the Tigers, they'll also be on 40. But if the Tigers beat the Cats, they'll go to 36 and be equal with the Cats and the Blues if the Blues lose to the Dockers. Now, the Swans and the Saints, the winner will go up to 36 points, which could be equal with the Cats if they lose to the Tigers, and then also equal to the Tigers and the Blues if they lose to the Dockers. Otherwise, then, if the Cats and the Blues win, well, then they'll skip the Tigers. Yeah, pretty important. And then the loser will be knocked out of the top 8. And then if Collingwood win, which they should, they'll go and take their place in the top 8 and go equal on 36 with whoever's on 36 at that time. And then the Doggies and the Suns, if they both record wins, well, then they go into 32 points, just a game outside the 8, and equal with the loser of St Kilda versus Sydney. And if Collingwood lose, equal with them as well. Maybe a spot in the top 8, perhaps for the Doggies, or the Suns, percentage-wise, which you don't know. Then Port Adelaide, well, then if they win, they'll go equal on points with the Gold Coast Suns and keep their finals hopes alive. That is the scenarios in a nutshell for round 15 of the 2022 AFL season. We'll be going back over my tips now. So I've tipped Brisbane, Western Bulldogs, Essendon, Fremantle, Richmond, Sydney, Adelaide, Collingwood and Port Adelaide. It's a pretty straightforward round. I did go a bit of a mini upset in Brisbane, and if you want to call Richmond a mini upset too, then go ahead and do so. But those are kind of my little upsets that I've picked for the round. The biggest upset, though, being the Lions, but I just think they'll be too strong for the Demons at the MCG. Well, anyway, though, big round, round 16. What has it got in store for us? The Lions and the Doggies starts things off. The Blues and the Saints, I'll tell you, that is about as big as you'll get. The Bombers and the Swans, the Crows and the Demons. The Suns and the Pies, that's a big one. The Cats and the Roos, the Tigers and the Eagles, the Giants and the Hawks, and the Dockers and the Power. Really big games as well. But this round has to be the biggest round of the year. It'll give us a little bit of a look of what finals footy may be like towards the end of the year. I am really looking forward for this round of footy. Drop a like if you are as well. All these games are going to be crackers. They're going to be brilliant. And all the teams are actually similar on ladder positions, and all the teams in the top 8 play each other. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. See you guys in another video on the channel. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Bye everyone. Flaming Footy out.